Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you've had a great breakfast and you're feeling comfortable and energized and well rested and ready to make some great creative art. Today, I want to talk to you about Invention. One of our favorite stations in the classroom is Inventor's Workshop. That's one thing that everybody loves to make things in, so I thought that'd be a great place to start today. And what better way to start off a conversation about invention than talking about Leonardo da Vinci? Leonardo da Vinci was an inventor and a painter and a sculptor and a musician and a scientist and a whole lot of other things who was born in 1452. He's an Italian Renaissance master, and he's very famous for making the Mona Lisa and several other famous works of art. But what you might not know is that his primary passion in life was to invent things. So let me start by talking about what the word invent really means. When I looked it up at the dictionary this morning, it said invent, to create or design something that has not existed before. So in that spirit, I'm going to read you a little story. While I'm reading this, if you want to doodle or do something with your hands, if you want to play with Play-Doh, whatever helps you relax and get into a good listening zone, you're welcome to do that. After we're done reading this story, my challenge to you is to invent your own flying machine. You can use any materials around the house. You can use paper, cereal boxes, paper towel rolls, just whatever you have laying around. And I want to see what your imagination brings up. How could your imagination solve the problem of making humans fly? This book might give you some ideas, or it might inspire you, or you might decide to do something completely different that is not even related to what we're talking about. All of that is absolutely fine. The most important thing is that whatever you do, you're flexing your creative muscles and you're giving yourself time to just let your imagination wander and invent. All right, so let's get started reading Leonardo and the Flying Boy. There were no spaceships or airplanes when Zorro was a boy. The sky belonged to the birds, but one man dreamed of something incredible. One day, Zorro, he told his pupil, people will sail through the clouds and look down at the world below. Anything is possible. The man with the amazing dream and a beard like a wizard was Leonardo da Vinci. Anything seemed possible in Leonardo's busy studio. He was a painter, a sculptor, a musician, and a scientist. Sometimes he showed Zorro his beautiful notebooks where 1,000 ideas spilled from every page. We must try to understand everything, said the great genius. How does life begin? How does a plant grow? How do planets move? And how could a person fly like a bird? But when Zorro tried to read the books, he found them written back to front. So the secret words could only be read in a mirror. There was one place where Zorro could never go. One mysterious workshop where the door was always locked. No one was allowed in there except for Leonardo himself. Zorro longed to see what was inside. Maybe it was a fantastic sculpture, or some other strange invention, he thought. In the studio, everyone had to work hard. Zorro mixed colors, cleaned brushes, and practiced his drawing. When I grow up, I will have my own studio, he said, and a secret workshop too. Of course you will, Zorro, smiled Leonardo. Leonardo was a kind man. If he ever found an animal that was sick or hungry, he would bring it home for his pupils to take care of. But one day, Leonardo found something very strange. He dragged the wild and noisy creature into his studio, where it kicked and fought and spat at the great artist. What is it? Asked Zorro. It's a boy, laughed Leonardo. A very wild boy. He's never been to school, and his mother is too poor to take care of him. She begged me to give him some work so he doesn't end up in prison. The wild boy grabbed Leonardo's hand and bit very hard. Leonardo pretended to be angry, but Zorro could see that he was laughing. I'll call you Soleil, said Leonardo. It means little devil. So Soleil came to stay at the studio, and although he was a mischievous boy, everyone grew to like him. But you can't wear those rags, said Leonardo. I'm going to buy you a real velvet suit and some shoes. Now, where did I leave my money? They searched high and low until at last, Zorro found the money, hidden in Soleil's filthy coat. Zorro couldn't believe it. Who would dare to steal from Leonardo da Vinci? Day after day, Leonardo dreamed up inventions of every kind. Zorro was amazed to see a parachute, the very first bicycle, a gadget for walking on water, a life preserver, and a diving suit. Once he built a machine for polishing and cutting glass to make himself a pair of spectacles. Now I can keep an eye on Soleil, he said, winking at Zorro. Early one morning, Leonardo took Zorro into town to look for interesting faces to draw. When he noticed someone especially beautiful or unusually ugly, Leonardo would follow them, making dozens of sketches. They came to the market, where a lady was selling birds in tiny cages. Leonardo looked at the birds. Then, to Zorro's surprise, he bought them all. But instead of taking the birds home as pets, Leonardo told Zorro to open the cages. Everyone stared. No one could understand. A bird should be free, said Leonardo. Look, Zorro. Can you see how their wings push against the air? It gives me an idea. Leonardo began to run. As soon as he got home, he locked himself in the secret workshop again. Zorro could hear hammering and sawing from inside. Hour after hour, Zorro waited, but Leonardo wouldn't stop for food or drink. What on earth was he building? It must be something incredible, thought Zorro. Something no one has ever dreamed of. At last, he fell asleep on the steps outside. Leonardo began a wonderful painting of a woman called Mona Lisa. She had to sit for weeks without moving, so Leonardo paid acrobats and musicians to keep her from getting bored. Zorro stared at the dreamy green mountains and the twisting rivers. Surely no one has painted anything so perfect, he thought. The face in the painting was smiling, a mysterious, gentle smile. It's as if she knows some secret, thought Zorro, as if she has seen inside that locked room. Suddenly, Soleil crept up behind him. Come with me, Zorro, he hissed. I'll show you something more interesting than that picture. Soleil looked very suspicious. He dragged Zorro out of the room and quietly down the stairs. At the door to the secret workshop, Soleil pulled out a big bunch of keys. You stole them? Gasped Zorro. Leonardo will throw you back onto the street. But Soleil only laughed and unlocked the door. Zorro knew he shouldn't be there. He should turn and run, but he just had to see what was inside that room. Zorro couldn't believe his eyes. An extraordinary machine filled the room. Its wings were like a great eagle's. Help me pull it outside, ordered Soleil. If we wait until Leonardo is ready, we will never fly. Anyway, you are the only one small enough to fit in the machine. It was made for you. You will be the flying boy. Leonardo will be furious, whispered Zorro. Not when he sees you flying above the studio, shouted Soleil. Come on, Zorro, help me. So as Leonardo worked upstairs, Soleil and Zorro hauled and dragged the heavy machine out of the workshop, along the streets, and far into the fields. Soleil pointed to the highest hill. We will try the machine from there, he said. As the sun set, they reached the top. Now, panted Soleil, just lie in here, and when you pedal, the wings will flap. Zorro was shaking. He felt ill. Maybe the machine isn't finished, he cried. We should be patient. But Soleil was already strapping Zorro into the machine and dragging it towards the edge of the hill. Zorro was terrified. He began to shout, and suddenly there was a gust of wind, and Soleil pushed, and the flying machine left the ground. Zorro looked down at the world below. He was sobbing with fear, but for a few seconds, he flew like a bird. It works! It works! Shouted the wild boy far below. But something was wrong. The bird was too heavy. Zorro paddled and pulled, but the machine began to fall. At that moment, Leonardo came running across the field. Zorro tugged on the ropes and screamed as the machine fell like a stone and crashed into the tree. Leonardo himself pulled Zorro's limp body from the wrecked machine and carefully carried him home. Soleil followed slowly, his head hanging in shame. Zorro was lying in bed. His leg hurt, his head wrapped in bandages. Oh, Zorro, said Leonardo sadly, it doesn't surprise me that Soleil would disobey me, but you? Perhaps I was wrong. People will never fly. We are not birds. From now on, I will stick to paintings. No, said Zorro quietly. Remember what you told me? One day people will fly. The machine was too heavy, that's all. Leonardo thought for a moment. Then he jumped up. Yes, he shouted. And the wings should be longer, like this. And he threw open his notebook and began to work. Slowly and patiently, until a beautiful drawing appeared. A new flying machine, more amazing than ever. And while he worked, Leonardo began to smile. A mysterious, gentle smile, as if he could see far into the future, where boys and girls like Zora would sail through the clouds. And anything is possible. And now it's your chance to go make your own flying machines. Whenever you've finished, I would love to see whatever you made, and here's how you can share it with me. Whenever you're ready to share your artwork, just click this button that says Add Response, and then you're going to select your name. For right now, I'm just going to select Sample Student. Then you're going to have all these different file types. Probably the easiest way is for you to click Picture, and then you can just hold up whatever it is that you've made, hit this record button, and I will be able to see it. All right, my friends, have a great time making your art, and I look forward to seeing whatever you came up with. Have a good one.